I get a lot of really cool things in my inbox about when I should do another show or when the next show is. And I got a few fans that are really fucking into listening to this, or good friends, I should say. That what's a fan anyway? A fan's just a good friend. I got faith in you. And thank you. I really appreciate it. And hockey season's going on. A lot of things are going on in my Navy career right now, and it's really hard to actually do these and edit these and put them out. I don't want to just throw garbage out there. I want to actually put some quality and some time into them. I really don't want to just throw shit out just to throw shit out, if that makes sense. So, I mean, thanks for being patient with me. Thanks for listening to these. Some of them I'm in the thousands, and some I get maybe 30 hits on. But either way, I'm just happy for the 30. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't mind getting 1,000. I took a little bit of time off of doing stand-up just so I could study for the Navy's Chiefs exam. This right here is a good show, I think. I sat down with Brian Shelsby, a friend of mine. He's a comic here. We've done a lot of things together. Matter of fact, I did my first road gig with him, and it was really fun. But, man, I'm really stoked about the future. I have 3 hockey enforcers that are really cool, that I love shooting the shit with. They're going to be on the show in the future. I have another one I need to edit and turn it out with Everett Price, another good friend of mine who's a comic in the area. He works here at the Funny Bone. But anyways, I got shit to put out for you guys, so fuck it, here you go. Friends, fans, followers, leaders, and true believers. Sitting in my little hockey headquarters is Brian Shelsby, a good buddy of mine, fellow comic. And I'd probably say one of the guys I do more stand-up with than anybody. You know.
You're wearing a Stephen Brody Stevens shirt. That's awesome. I was just listening to him. He was on some other podcast the other day. Stephen Brody Stevens.
Yes.
Positive energy. Yes. I'm single. Like, he'll just throw random shit like that. Like, oh man, stuff like that just makes me like... It makes me love comedy again. Like, you know, it reinvigorates my love for comedy. It happens on a daily basis, like multiple times a day. Like little things like that.
One of the things that's always funny is watching him and Don Barris go back and forth with each other, and it's just,
dude. Oh my god, the cool things you get to see just because you're a comic and you get to hang out at comedy clubs.
Yes.
Like just the cool shit you get to see, just like hanging out at a table of comics. I remember I was like brand new and I got invited. Because I sold weed to, like, alright, when you're first starting comedy, right, there's a lot of, like, rules and regulations. It's like high school. You don't just get invited to the cool kids table. It took me a little while. But at the same time, like, I actually, like, I had a knowledge of comedy. I knew what comedy was.
Right.
Like,
right.
I remember, actually, the reason I got invited in, I went up to one of the MCs at Acme, and Acme in Minneapolis is the big deal. Like, Acme's one of the best clubs in the country, in the world. Let alone, like, so it's that club there. And I saw one of the MCs and I saw one of the features. And I was like, dude, I took him outside. I was like, dude, I don't know if anyone's ever told you, but you're way funnier than the feature. And he was like, I don't know you, but I like you. And like,
well, I always compare it a lot to the military. You know what I mean? Because like when you come in the military, you start off at the bottom of the fucking barrel. I mean, you were in the Air Force for a short time.
Yeah.
Well, you're still a veteran, but we won't say how short of a time. But no, but you come in, you got to go through all that bullshit. You know, you're chipping paint and doing the shit jobs, and then you just move up the ranks.
Oh, I can shine the shit out of a door rail. Like those little door handles, shiniest door handles ever.
And another thing too is like I wish a lot of people just getting into comedy would listen to what you just said a minute ago, because it's so true. Like when you go to, like, say if you're from a smaller town or a smaller comedy area and you go to a bigger one, like you go to L.A., New York, Minneapolis, whatever, Chicago. Yeah. Who gives a fuck if you get stage time or
Austin.
not? Yeah, if you get stage time or not. Who gives a fuck, really? I mean, it's nice to get it, but at the same time, the biggest and most important thing,
just hang out, be cool, be yourself, and absorb shit, man.
Dude, that's the greatest thing about... Alright, since I started doing comedy, I went from being, like, just another dude to being a very specific individual with a very specific point of view.
Right.
You know? Like, I went from being, like, just total tool, like, to becoming an actual individual. Like, I'm still a tool, probably, in a lot of people's eyes, but I'm not, like, I have my own...
I know some people that agree, but
oh yeah,
you're
a lot
my
of
way,
people.
dude.
Oh, I know a lot of people that agree. One of them's probably sitting directly across from me right now. I'm not a dick. Like, everyone thinks I'm a dick, but like when you're starting out comedy, like the fact that I got invited in was simply because I was okay to hang around. Like, I was very complimentary. I had a decent job, so I would buy other people beers. Because when you're a comic, you don't have money. And if someone's buying you a beer, you're going to hang out with them and give them a little bit of advice.
Right.
Maybe you'll even watch their set before they deserve you to watch their set, you know?
Well, that too, and like I think the general knowledge of what you're doing and the appreciation of it, it's like karma, a good karma. You're like a good vibes, man. And everybody wants to surround themselves with positive energy, as Stephen Brody Stevens would say. Everybody wants to surround themselves with that nice pocket of creativity, and it breeds more creativity when you get that positive, thing. And I always thought it was cool about a lot of the people that you run into is just how willing people are to help you out. Like if there's something, they'll be like, "Hey, man, this would sound really cool if you change this, move this around slightly, and then or just you're stepping on your laughs or stuff like that's the biggest thing mostly, is when people have something really fucking funny." And then they'll just step right all over their dick because they're worried about the next joke that they have written down versus, oh wow, somebody actually likes this.
Yeah, everyone's worried about getting shit out. Like that was the hardest thing to learn, man. Like that was 3 years in, and 3 years in Minneapolis. That would take like 10 years in Virginia Beach to do.
Yeah. That
much stage time and get that much advice from like that many experienced comics. Like I live in Virginia Beach now, and like people here don't understand. Like there's not a comedy scene here. And when you're coming from a comedy scene, when you're doing like 15 sets a week, that's at least 2 sets a night, and that's not without even trying. You're seeing people constantly, and you're seeing them every day, multiple times a day, and they still ignore you like you don't exist.
Yeah.
And that's like at least 3 months, no matter what, like across the board. The fact that I got in, like, because I smoke weed, and I'm willing to share that, and I'm also willing to buy people drinks. New comics, buy the older comics drinks. They will love you. Like, you will get advice that you probably don't deserve yet. You'll also be told you're funnier than you are, and if the comic's not a dick, they'll take you aside and just be like, hey, man, scrap that, and then just start over. You have funny ideas, just figure, like,
If you're hanging out with the comics, you probably already get it. But why'd you get into comedy out of all things you could have done?
I found out that you could do comedy, pretty much. I was like, it never even crossed my mind that that was something you could do.
Right.
And then when I was like 21, I just had a kid. I was about to be a dad. Like I was about to have a kid with like a person that like we weren't meant to be together, and that's a long, complicated situation. But anyway, comedy's always been my escape. Like since I was little, like I always realized when you're a kid, like you got in much less trouble if you made the person that was supposed to be disciplining you laugh.
Right.
Like
true.
And
very true.
That became like something that I learned very young, and that became a skill that I honed. Was like, I don't follow rules. Like,
right.
Like I'm not a big rule person. I'm a good person, but I'm not. Like I feel like a lot of rules. Like I'll break rules just to break them. I don't know, just because I can.
That's why
Stuff
I like
that.
Being in the military. I couldn't be anything but a Navy Seabee, because I see so many people in other branches and shit where we're like independent construction contractors.
That's why I got out of the military,
so
man.
There's like a lot. I mean, instead of going down that route of but I'll just say, man, there's so much other things I could not do in the military because of the same thing about the rule breaking and stuff like that. Fuck, there was something I was going to say about.
It's challenging authority, and I think that's what makes comics. Like when like people, like a lot of comics talk about some of the bigger Republican or conservative comics, like Dennis Miller now. Dennis Miller, he used to be like a voice of the people. Now he's a voice of the minority, and it's like comedy. You're the voice of the underdog. You're the underdog. When you become part of the controlling class, you cease to have the appeal to people that makes you a comic. It almost makes you cease to be funny. It's almost like you're bragging now. Right. There's a fine line between being funny.
Well, that's why
and
a lot of
being-
people started to hate Dane Cook, is because he started getting so big. I think he revolutionized a lot of comedy. The dude.
I've heard some stories of him just like
And then-
going up and talking about like the stupid chicks he fucked, like in quotes, like
Right, and that's
it's
where
like-
a lot of people started disliking him.
like what the Situation did on the roast when like he.
Yeah,
it was. That's
right.
kind of
Yeah,
what like
that's
Dane
totally
Cook was
right.
turning into. Like, you're just bragging about your life.
Yeah,
Like, really, like, oh, who's the Harris Whittles has the not Harris Whittles. Someone has the backhanded compliment or the humble brag. Yeah, there's a thing called a humble brag.
no, I'm
And
trying to
that's-
think of who the fuck does it, but I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah,
It's humble brags all the time.
One of the things I thought was cool you said is that when you found out you could do it, you started doing it. A lot of people won't understand that, but I fucking
Okay.
totally get it. No,
The backstory about that is
Is-
I had so much anxiety. Like, I still have that much anxiety.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't even go to comedy clubs to watch shows because like I enjoyed it that much, and I was like, I could see myself doing that. Like, I really thought like
I thought you were
was,
gonna say you were agoraphobic for a second.
No,
Figuring out the
I
house.
really thought I could see myself doing it. And then the
Yeah.
first time I went to a show, I went to see someone that like they were in Acme and like I listened to their CD when I was working on I was working on an assembly line. I hated my life, so I was listening to comedy podcasts and like all behind the scenes stuff. It's like I realized that getting into comedy, it was sacrificing the next 15 years of my life
Right.
to hopefully maybe get enough money to continue living just doing comedy. That's a possibility for my future.
Right.
And that's what I want to do. All I wanted was to be able to pay my bills doing comedy. That would be the greatest way to live my life.
I thought it was cool that, matter of fact, Joe Rogan said something about that. He's like, you know what? When I didn't have to fucking worry about bills anymore, I fuck this. That's where I want to get. And that, for me, I can relate to the as soon as I found out I could do it, I wanted to do it because I didn't know how to fucking start. You know, and I was like, how the fuck do you start this thing? And then next thing you know, I'm hanging out with comics. Who was it? Matt Egger. He's a guy at the Comedy Store, and Matt Egger and Steve Simone and a couple other good people, Earl Skakel, Tony Hinchcliffe, but were some really, really cool guys that were just, you know, shooting the shit with them. And Earl's like, you're firing half these fuckers that are up right now. You should go up, but I just didn't have the balls at the time. You know, and then after I finally grew those, now it's, you know, it's fucking...
Yeah, man. Like,
I just got to finish my first career before I go to that one. You know, I'm almost done.
yeah, make that leap. I know some people that are like that. And it's just like, man, you have the potential to be so much funnier than you are, and you're not getting the time in. You're taking too many breaks in between. I only took one break since I started comedy. It was like 3 months when I first moved back to Virginia Beach. I've never been more depressed in my life, like never.
Yeah.
And I was probably already like completely melting down, and like it was just a matter of time before that happened. But at that point, like the second I got better, like I started doing comedy again, and
Right.
I feel like I went to a whole new level that it's still not even close to like where I want to be, but like things just started clicking, and like I started looking at life differently. And it was comedy that brought me out of that. Like when my grandmother died, I was but I was like I was a rock at the funeral, you know. Like,
Right.
first of all, there was a 6-day wait. That's unnecessary for anyone, any human being. Like, no, thank you.
Right.
But like the first night, like it was just like it was rough. I saw my grandmother. I saw her dead body. I joke about death, but like, because for me, like, it's something that I can't like emotionally grasp completely. Wow. The way I deal with it is making fun of it.
Right.
Like,
well, I'm the same way because with what I can't like I can deal fine with military death, people I know in the military, because I accept it as part of the job.
Yeah.
You know, and it sucks because it's like a lot of the good friends I have that pass away here and there from spec war type units and shit like that. But like I had a good buddy of mine, Eric Swinehart. He and I used to hang out together. Me, him, and Lee Noss. It was like all three of us. We hung out in Vanguard Vocational Center. Lee got crushed in a dumpster behind a bar. You know, like not too long after I graduated high school, and then just about a couple months ago, my buddy Eric shot himself in the heart in his girlfriend's backyard. You know, and that was like so fucking hard for me to get over. And thank God it had the Joke Slingers comedy tour thing. I was worried about writing material and having a good set over this shit. And then by the time, you know, I already came over that fucking hurdle. I already went over that hurdle of is it going to affect me or not, you know. So For a minute there, I was like, man, I'm gonna lose my shit. And then I hope I lose my shit so I can find my shit, get my shit together. You know what I mean? I was hoping that would happen, and but yeah, man, death is a fucking hard issue for me when it comes to civilians, man. That are people who are close. Don't die on your way home.
The other thing is, no. The other thing is, I don't think that it's a surprise that it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get too heavy, but being adopted, like, it comes with a lot of emotional issues that you don't think about.
You actually have people that love you that raise you?
Yeah.
I'm just...
and to accept that, though, like, to accept that, like...
Yeah.
To honestly, like, to accept that, just to be able to accept that you're worth that, because you have a whole other set of parents that you've never met, and, like, at the same time, like, so you have a set of parents that didn't want you.
Right.
And then you have a set of parents that... I'm lucky because my current set of parents love me. They're my parents. Like, they're people, man. They're the people that I love. Like, I could have got a shitty family, you know? I have the greatest family I could have ever asked for. But to accept that I was worth that, like, that took me until, like, I was 25. Like, I'm 28 now. That's 3 years ago. Yeah. Like, but, so what I'm saying about death and stuff is, I expect people to die. Like, it's just part of life. But I also expect people to leave and to, like, there's a little bit of abandonment issues in there.
Oh, I bet.
And, like, so, like, for me, I guess my biological parents, in my mind, emotionally, are dead to me. Like,
right.
So I process it as they died when I was a baby.
Right.
Like, they died when they gave me up. Like, when people ask me if I've ever met them, for a while that was something I struggled with because I didn't want to hurt my mom. I was curious, but I didn't want to hurt my mom. But now I've learned about the situation, and like, there's no way with Korean culture that either one of them are in even like the biological father probably doesn't even know I exist.
Right.
So like, and the biological mother maybe has a family, probably dead. Like, sounds like she was a prostitute, just from the circumstances.
Well, that's, and that's the thing too. Like, I spent a lot of time in South Korea, and they have just straight up red light districts. People don't understand.
Well, dude, my sister, she's there in Korea now, and like she put all the paperwork in with the adoption agency, and I did the same thing. Her family, like her mother, had reached out to the adoption agency to say, I want nothing to do with her at all.
Right.
And that's pretty much what they told her. And she was crushed. And it's like, even if that was the case, that's what I'm expecting. That's what I was expecting. Right. Part of me wants to just hear that.
Right.
But the other part of me was like, that's already happened. So anything else, now that would be something that I have to go through emotionally. And I've been through like my troubles with being able to deal with things. And I think because of comedy, honestly, I'm in a good place, able to handle shit.
Yeah. And the good thing too is about comics is, you're always surrounded by some dark motherfuckers.
Dude, comics are just the most down to earth people.
Exactly. There's been so much shit that's
you cannot know someone at all, and then just start sitting down and talking about like the most heavy shit, like about your own life and their life, and it's just a freeness to share and laugh about it, like and make fun of each other for what they're saying, like.
That's why a lot of people get pissed at comedians when they're on stage and they're saying a joke that's considered too soon. You know, like, and if I don't want to mention anything right now because I get personally. You know what I'm talking about.
Personally, I get in a lot of shit for the things I say about someone after their sets. Because if whoever I'm following, I'm probably gonna tag. If they had a decent set, if they had a bad set, I'm not an animal. Like I'll leave them alone. But like, all right, there's a couple people where it's just like I'm being a dick. But there's a couple of times where, like, you know what I mean? Like, insult is the highest form of flattery.
Right.
Fuck, what were we talking about just a minute ago?
We're talking about...
insult and people taking things the wrong way. Maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines. For me, I'm talking about, like, a recent thing that happened, like, if like, immediately after 9/11 or the theaters or something like that. Yeah. And then,
people say dark shit.
Yeah, comedians will say something like, all right, for example, somebody got in a lot of shit. I won't mention any names, but somebody got in a lot of shit for saying that, if those kids were packing in the school, they wouldn't have been dead right now. And then someone
said about that now.
Yeah, and then a lot of people fucking jump all over that. And then
kids are probably packing in school though.
Right, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? It's just comedians look at things a lot differently than a normal average person. So like when somebody watches these roasts that are on TV, and then they'll have like
there is a time and a place, like you know what I mean, like.
But
on Facebook, when that just happened, you know you're going to get shit for it.
Yeah.
Or on Twitter, when it just happened.
But when you got like a couple months past, and you got the I don't know, we had the Roseanne roast not too long ago, right? You had Benji Follow and Tony Hinchcliffe dressed up like two little high school football players or college football players, and then you had Jeffrey Ross. He was dressed up like that fucking Coach Sandusky, right? And then everybody's like, "Oh, that's too soon." They had to cut that part out, which that was really comedic genius. But at the same time, they had to cut that out, and then some other people just don't get it. Whereas comics, it's just we survive through shit by making fun of things.
Yeah,
and we know it's horrible. We know that nobody wants anybody to get touched. You know, nobody wants that on anybody. But it's just to fucking get through it. You know what I mean? And it's also creating awareness for the shit. You know.
I thought that I had. This is a side note, but I had something else I wanted to say about that. But like, I remembered like there's a memory that I had like completely kind of blocked out, and then like through the wonders of acid, I was able to recall this memory in a horrible like moment. But
hopefully, this isn't a night in county.
No,
that you
I just remember like I remember like when I was like a kid, like one of my older cousins or like one of the kids down the street. I'm pretty sure it was my older cousin though. Like, I just remember there was, like, a slight molestation, like, nothing too bad, but, like, just, like, enough that, like, probably shouldn't have happened. I blocked it out, you know? And my first thought was, now I can make fun of this on stage.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, sweet, now I can... But
your hall
I'm
pass
never going to be able to. Because it's not something that I can talk about on stage and make sound funny for any reason.
But you said you found your hall pass from molestation, basically.
Yeah, like, if I do say it, something by accident, I'm like... my own cousin, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how I would bring that up, but I don't understand why people are offended by anything a comic says about anyone else, especially.
You went to a fucking show.
Listen to the shit they're saying about themselves.
Yeah.
Like clearly, anything about anybody else like is fully like if they say that shit about themselves just in public. Imagine the shit they don't say about themselves. And if they're saying that about themselves, someone they love, you know, imagine what they think about everyone else, people they don't even know. Like, you're not me. I'm thinking way worse about you. You know what I mean?
They forget that a lot of people forget, or they just want the attention. But they're seeing a fucking entertainer. They're there they paid to get entertained. You know, what the fuck do you think's going to come out of some people's mouth? You know what I mean? When you got, like, Daniel Tosh's show... You're seeing fucking Daniel Tosh, man. Yeah. And then, what the fuck is that other dude's name? He got in trouble for the whole saying something about gays not too long ago.
Tracy Morgan?
Yeah, it's Tracy fucking Morgan.
The other thing was, though...
Tracy Morgan's he is kind of different than what you see on TV, because he could spend a whole hour talking about eating assholes. You know, and
that's what he's currently doing on stage.
Yeah. It's just... All right, so let's move on.
Yep. I don't want to keep talking about Tracy Morgan.
No, definitely not. But anyways, right now, who do you think is your number one, and who do you think was the person that got you to the fucking catalyst that got you into on a microphone?
That's ever evolving. Because like I constantly meet people that are great comics that I look up to. Dan Cummins most recently, I just met him. Right. And I watched his set, and like I couldn't sit and watch his entire set because I'm like, everything he's saying is like, I wish I could.
So close to fucking home, or what?
It's not only that. It's just like it's thoughts that I was maybe having, and like it's the way I would say it, but so much better. So like, you see people like that, you just get jealous. And you're just like, I want to quit because I'm never gonna be that good. And then you're like, you know what? I could be that good if like I'm having similar thoughts. Like the other time I felt that way is when I saw Louis C.K.
Yeah.
It's like when I felt that deep of like a holy shit. And not to say that I could ever be Louis C.K.
No.
But like at the same time, I'm like I could be something like that someday.
Right. I think what it is too. This is my opinion. Is like for example, like I play pool, right? And I play pool with a kick-ass pool player. I play kick-ass. You know what I'm saying? Now, like, if I'm at it's just mediocre person, I'll play with, basically the competition. I think a lot of times, too, like, when you move to L.A., New York, whatever, you go to Chicago, fucking Minneapolis. Anyways, all these other places, you go there, and you'll have all these other people. That fucking pushes you just that much further. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're like, damn. And that's the motivation, too. Plus, like, here, for a minute, there were too many fucking rooms and too many comics. Yeah. And then it's kind of... dwindling down a little bit, but it's just kind of strange, and it's not like there's that much of a push because there's people that I don't know.
Everyone here is a hobbyist. Most of the people here are hobby comics.
I agree. And
no one's cultivating a real scene. No one's policing hacky material. No one's doing things like. I get ostracized to a degree in this scene because I'm a little outspoken sometimes. I'm like, especially if I've had a few drinks, I might get a little honest. And like, you know what I mean?
I'll say a little ornery too. I mean,
I usually keep it, but that's because there's so much, like, I just keep so much quiet.
Yeah.
I just don't say anything because every time I do, it becomes like a huge issue in the scene. But the thing is, if we were in a real scene, it would be a group of me saying this to those people.
You'd have people like I'll say Earl Skakel. I love the guy to death. You'll have somebody like him, who I consider him a hockey enforcer and also an enforcer of comedy.
Yeah.
Because I'll just read Twitter, dude, and I'll just see like shit tons of him just bagging on people and this stuff, and it's like, hell yeah.
The way I look at it is, I did Minneapolis 5 years, right? I was in there 5, maybe like 5.5, and I was going out multiple times a night, like. I didn't sleep. Like, I had a job where I had to work from 5 in the morning until 5 at night. On an assembly line. There was no, like, break. You couldn't be late. You couldn't leave early. Like, I did that. And then I was out till 2 in the morning every night doing comedy. Like, I literally went home to shower and eat. Yeah. And then just sleep at night for, like, 3 hours. When I was first... So when people have excuses, because I have to get up early, if you have an excuse to not do comedy, you're probably not going to be a comic.
Right.
Like, it's just how it is. Like, you can't give up stage time when you're first starting. You can't. And not when you're first starting. Like, when you have dedicated yourself to being a comic. Yeah. You know? It's just kind of how it is. Like,
well, I fully, man. I mean,
there's a lot of sacrifice.
We're talking about that. It was like 18 months. Like, I never stopped, dude. It was like fucking at least two minimum two minimum a week, up to 6, you know? And it's just like, and I'm fucking feeling guilty as fuck on myself. Because I got to study for the Chiefs exam, for the Navy Chiefs exam. And then after February 17th, I'm fucking hitting that shit as much as possible. You know, and then... So
yeah, man, it's all about stage time, learning how to be comfortable on stage, and then figuring out how to be you on stage. Because if you're trying to do comedy, chances are you think you're pretty funny, and you make people laugh off stage.
Yeah. Like,
just talking to people. And the trick is... once you become comfortable and once you've learned how to write a joke, like thinking in joke format constantly.
Yeah.
And then also learning how to be you off stage when you're making people laugh on stage.
Yeah.
And you're not just like, I'm a robot telling jokes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's like Bill Hicks' principle. Basically he's saying that, you know, you are the source of your material and you control the supply and the demand.
Yeah.
Which I think that's pretty fucking badass. I consider like a joke, just like I'm a metal worker in the Navy. I'm a steel worker actually, and it's just like fucking forging a sword, man. You gotta fucking heat it, treat it, pound the shit out, fold it, pound it, and then you're just constantly that same fucking joke, man. You're just always find that new way.
If you're telling jokes, people will tell you you're funny, but like if you're up there being you, you'll start having fans, like people that actually follow you and stuff, and that's something that I never thought would ever happen. Like,
right.
And to a very small degree, I have that a little bit, and just a taste of it. And like that, if you start to get annoyed with comedy, just having that should inspire you to keep going, to not let them down.
Right.
Those 2 people, all 2 of them.
That's like the 7 that really pay attention to this thing's why I keep doing it.
Yeah, man. Dude, exactly. You don't want to let them down. It's all relative. Everything's relative, man. And that little pocket, like, for those 7 people that are listening to us right now, like, we're making their fucking day.
That's 6, we lost one. But yeah, fuck yeah.
I got too sentimental. So fuck you, those other 6 that are still listening.
The 6 of you guys rock, man. Pretty soon we'll have t-shirts and I'll only make 10. That way, just in case anybody else, you know, fucking hops on.
Listening.
We're sort of...
I never answered your question, but...
Oh, about who exactly was it that influenced you? Well, you got Louis C.K. down.
No, so, all right.
He's one of the guys.
What actually started me listening to comedy, I remember listening to Dane Cook, because everyone was listening to Dane Cook.
Right.
And I listened to his album, and I was like, not only was I like thinking of his punchlines as he was like, before he was saying them.
Yeah.
It was almost word for word. And like, I was like, I remember having these stories like when I was in middle school, and like these jokes, like anecdotes about things when I was in middle school.
Right.
And then I started like watching more comedy again, and like finding more comedy. And I'm like, some of these people are talking about shit that I was thinking about a while ago, and like it's just like the same way. And like I saw parallels to how I thought and how this was.
How you
and
can
like,
relate to that shit.
I could do that. So Dane Cook is the reason I did comedy. I'm like, if this motherfucker is the biggest comic in the world, and I was thinking this shit when I was in middle school,
right.
then why couldn't I be something?
Well, one of the things too I thought was he was a genius because he flooded everything. Like
and he stole from someone he thought would never be famous.
He fucking who do you think he stole from?
No one. He didn't steal from anyone. It was just parallel thinking.
Oh, okay.
And it was absorption of maybe like common things.
Just common
verbatim several times with other comics too afterwards.
Yeah, like somebody did that with Bill Hicks too.
Yeah.
And it got really huge, and never really thought Bill Hicks would have made it in his afterlife.
Oh yeah.
Which,
and then he got a show on FX.
Yeah, but
wait, both of the people involved, as the victim and the perpetrator, not in different stories. Yes, both have shows on FX or had.
That one guy though that did take the stuff from Bill Hicks. I will say, fucking God bless him for what he does for the fire departments and all that other shit. Because holy shit, that guy gives a lot back, man.
Yeah. It's like in,
but it's so
Inside
scary
Man.
how it's so
it's like
fucking
in Inside
parallel.
Man when they bust the guy that got rich selling like the Nazi diamonds, whatever, and then he owned a bank, but he constantly gave back to Jewish money.
Right.
It's like that guy.
Yeah, it's like
dude,
I want to fucking.
It's the exact same situation.
I want to be mad at Dennis Leary, but I really love what he's done. Yeah, I did mention his name. Nobody's gonna come after me. I've only got like 6 listeners.
There's no one listening. I was trying to save names too. But
yeah.
All right, so new comics. What we're trying to say is new comics. Listen to as much good comedy as you can. Like your sense of humor will constantly evolve. Like one of the things that I remember being told was like, I thought racial humor was kind of funny when I first started. And I had 2 racial jokes. Like it wasn't from my experience; they were just racial jokes. And dude was like, "You're a year in, you still think that's funny? In a couple years, your comedy will have evolved, and you'll realize how that's not funny." And it's like, new people, stop trying to be shocking. Saying shit just to get like a groan. That's not being edgy anymore.
No.
Everybody's
doing it.
I think it was even Louis C.K. that said it. Being edgy now is being as open and honest as you can be on stage.
Yes. I think...
And don't be open and honest to the point where we all feel bad about you. Still be funny. You still have that punchline. That's still... learn how to write a joke. But also learn how to be as honest as you can.
Constantly evolving with the influences, and that's always cool. One of my biggest ones right now is Bill Burr, big time. Not because he was cool to me at the comedy
he's always one of the greats.
Because he's fucking hilarious.
Dude, he's just one of the greats, period.
Yes. It's just the guy could just stand up there and fucking riff on
There's
shit.
he can
talk about his pickup truck for hours, and then everybody will love him.
There's few people that can do what Bill Burr does. Even the people that everyone else looks up to, they look up to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's he's like a fucking, I don't want to say he's like, I'll say he's in a lot of ways like Louis C.K., that he's just got his own thing going on, and he influences a lot of people, and he brings out the best of you when you watch him, because you're just like, damn. It's like Hunter S. Thompson's one of my favorite writers, but he used to type Hemingway. He actually would read Hemingway and type Hemingway's shit, and that he's like, I want to know how it feels to type like Hemingway did. And I think in a weird way, some of the comics we listen to and we watch, we're like, fuck. You don't want to hack. In other words, you don't want to do the exact same thing. Military people don't understand what a hack is.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They don't want to copy the exact same thing.
If you listen to too much comedy, like the same person too long,
it's like when you hang out. It's like
when
women,
you hang out with people,
dude. It's like women. They cycle together, bro. That's like when you hang out with comics. You start cycling your material together. It's just another person that really is cool, that says a lot of really good things to the comics beginning, especially, is Chris Rock. And he talks about how he'd hang out with a lot of other comics, and same shit for them, is that you start finishing each other's punchline. You guys, you know exactly where you're going. Yeah. And another good bit of advice that I thought Chris Rock had was go hang out at different clubs by yourself. Just go fucking and just blend in the background and just watch.
Yeah. I do that too often.
And I fucking love doing that, man. And that's what I really like about the Funny Bone here. Yeah. And fucking Rick, the manager here, is fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
He doesn't give a shit. He's just like, hey, I just want you to get a slip. That's it. In other words,
yeah, you have to get a ticket now.
Get a ticket now.
And
at first, I thought he didn't want us to come in. And I was wrong. It was that he just wants everybody to
come.
come.
Corporate rules. But it's a corporate comedy club.
Yeah, exactly.
Which seems counterintuitive.
Right. Yeah. But, and that's the thing, too, is like, I want to bash on Chains, but not that one, because he's just cool as fuck, and he's investing in his club by letting us do that.
Yeah.
I get it, but at the same time, he doesn't have to be cool about it like he is.
Yeah.
But what are some of the best shows you've ever done?
I've ever done?
Yeah. I mean, where do you think where was the best places that you had best experiences, I guess?
I got a lot of fun doing that roast the other night for my two buddies that are leaving. That was a lot of fun. Yeah,
JP and Dwayne. I was just I wasn't even expecting to be in town. I was supposed to be in Ohio right now. Yeah. So like when Dwayne was like, "Hey, bring us up or bring you up," I was like, "Oh, cool." I was just happy just to be able to say whatever fuck I said.
That was a lot of fun, man.
That was
The difference between a roast I've learned and like normal sets is everyone wants you to be mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's expected. Other times it's just surprise.
Oh, shit.
It's just surprising.
Dude. I won't say any names, but it was funny the other day. Somebody blasted you on Facebook.
Oh, man. After this, I have to show you some funny shit.
Oh.
But he basically tried to apologize to me.
Oh, really?
On he's like, I call a truce, like a ceasefire, and like all this. And I'm like, of course you want a ceasefire, because I'm just shitting on you. Like,
right.
All over. He's like, I saw what you posted and took down. I took it down because it needed to be said, but it probably didn't need to be public.
Well,
it probably didn't need to be public because I hadn't said it to him to his face yet.
Well, I didn't know if you took it down for that reason, or the other reason why is like when you punch somebody in the face. If you punch somebody in the face that deserves it, and then they run to their mom, I got punched in the face, and then you become the bad guy because you punched somebody in the face that had it coming. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
That's why when I do call people out, I get pretty belligerent about it because I've had this boiling inside of me. I'm like, you need to fucking quit.
Right.
Like, I just don't say it for so long. When they like attack me in any way comedically, and I'm like, that motherfucker like just attacked me comedically, like, just challenged me comedically. Now it's comic fight. Like, I can say whatever I want now.
Well,
like, they just gave me free range to shit on them.
Yeah.
Like, everything that I've been bottling up and not saying, now it's coming out. That's just how I see it.
Well, you get a hall pass, fucking take that.
Exactly.
And so that was probably one of the best ones.
Just anytime. Well,
that show.
So for real, the best show for me ever. It was like my first time emceeing, I think. I was down in, one of my first times, or maybe my second time. Anyway, I was down in Rochester, Minnesota, at Goonies. Not only did I get to open for like one of my really good friends, one of my big influences in comedy, taught me a lot. His name's Mike Brody. He was fucking awesome. But this woman came out during the feature set, or during the headliner set, because Brody was only featuring at the time. He's a headliner now. She's like, my dad just died, and like she was an Asian girl, and like in her culture, it's the oldest daughter's responsibility to take care. Maybe it's her mom died,
right?
To take care of all the funeral arrangements and everything. She's like, and this is the first time I've been
out. That's heavy,
man.
Yeah.
She's like, that's the first time I've been out, and she gave me a big hug, and she's like, I really related to what you were saying, and like, it's the first time I've been able to laugh since that happened, and I was like, this is why I'm doing comedy. Like, that was like, I was like 6 months in, and like, that was just fucking awesome. It just solidified all the reasons for.
You know what I thought was fucking awesome was, speaking of, and that made me think of it. I wasn't even thinking this is one of the best shows, but actually I think it is one of the best now. Was when you, me, Will Mafari, and Dwayne, we all went down to the fucking, what was it, the Comedy
Camp
Zone?
Lejeune.
Yeah, outside Camp Lejeune. And all the material, almost everything I had for that show was basically written just for that show about working with the Marines and all that other bullshit. And then everybody relating to it and wanting to hang out after it. I was like, and then I still got like about... Well, I'm 9. I have 9 listeners because I got 9 guys that follow me on Facebook and always shoot me emails and shit like that from down there.
So those dudes,
they
saw me do comedy then.
Yeah, so some of the guys that are listening right now,
there might actually be people listening to this.
Yeah, there are people listening that seen you do stand up before, but and it's really cool. I forgot all about until you said the relating part. I was like, I'm going to have to edit part of that out because I'm not going to edit anything out. Fuck it. No, that was really awesome because I felt really so fucking
and, so off topic constantly. You have to only have to edit. You have some work ahead of you.
No, it makes me feel really good though. Like when there was a group of people that remember you, and then you meant something to them,
Yeah.
You know, it's like I love that about what I do in the Navy. I've always been a platoon commander in the Navy Seabees, or I've always been, you know, a leader at one point or another and in charge of shit. And then it's always good to have people's lives changed like that. But the thing is, in the military, they have to be there because they said, I'm going to be here. You know what I mean? No matter what, they're going to follow you because that's their fucking job. Nobody needs to follow you to a show, you know? And then when people like, hey, where are you going to be at? And the ones that actually do show up that ask you, where are you going to be at? Then that's fucking pretty awesome, man. That's tits.
The worst thing is having people that know you in different places and are like, when are you coming here? When are you coming here? And you're like, when I get better and I can go there.
Exactly.
You know? But I don't want to say that to them. Like, I can't say that I can't explain that to other people, you know? Like,
no,
people find out you're doing comedy, like your family usually, and they're just like, it's not even, like, you're not even like Leno or Tonight Show or Letterman. Like, if you didn't do America's Got Talent, then you're not anything.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like the weirdest. Yeah, it's like the weirdest fucking
when
thing.
he was the last comic standing. What the fuck?
Like, you could have a career in comedy and still, like, your family wouldn't think you were shit because you could have been on the Tonight Show 100 times and your family still wouldn't think you were shit because you weren't on Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, that's like, you know, like, I've done a couple shows here at the Funny Bone. I've done the Comedy Store.
And you could tell,
but it wasn't at some fucking specific fucking bar in Virginia Beach at one time.
You could tell anyone you were in Last Comic Standing and they'd believe you because you're doing comedy and you're talking to them.
Fucking boonshalaka.
And they'll automatically assume that you're a big deal.
There's this bum.
Because no one remembers who was on that show.
There's this
but
bum.
Anyway.
There's this bum that hangs out outside the Comedy Store. Hey, you want to buy this for $2? I got a knife set. I got a good knife set. You can sell it for $2. I got a little table. I got a chair. I sell it for $2. He sells stolen shit from other clubs. He steals shit out of clubs, and then he goes down to different other clubs and tries to sell it, like knife sets or whatever. And he's got that credit for fucking Last Comic Standing because he was on there, and they fucking. But you know.
Oh, dude, the people that like have that like 2 seconds that they were waving in line.
Right.
And that's their only credit for it.
Man.
And they use it. There's comics out there that use that as their credit.
I love the best.
And I use comics loosely.
No, but the best comic like is fucking Brian Kearns. I love Brian to death. Brian, I love you, buddy. And he's got
not listening.
He's got.
He's never gonna listen to this. I'm just kidding.
Eye twitching. No, Alex Moore is though, and they do shows together.
Oh, so then he probably is subjected to it in the car
at one point or
he's
another.
probably asleep right now.
Yeah, no shit.
Like your buddy Alex is listening to it, and Brian Kearns is sleeping right next to him.
Yeah. No, Kearns is probably driving. But anyways. No, he's got a joke about that shit.
Insulted him, complimenting him, and then realized there was no getting back from that, and just walked away because I'm that awkward in person.
Well, I know what you meant to say and what you said were like
the exact opposite things.
I know
the exact opposite things.
What you meant to say. Well, I'll just leave what you meant to say was, dude, you had some awesome crowd work. And
not even that.
That's what he meant to say.
That's not even like that almost sounds like an insult still. But it wasn't even meant to be an insult in any way. And I was like hearing it as I said it, and I'm like, there's nothing but insult coming out of my mouth right now. And I was just like, you know what? I even told Paul, I was like, there's no coming back from that. See you later, buddy. And I just left. I gotta leave after that one.
Right. That shit was funny, man.
When you're listening to comedy as a new comic, man, like every comic like that's an influence should influence you in like slightly different ways too. I look up to Rory Scovel because he's like, I'm jealous of how free he is on stage, and I'm not the only person that thinks that, but like just listening to him, it's like I didn't know I could do that. Like that's constantly like what I actually said that to him after the first time I saw him, and he's like, oh, you thought there were rules? And I was like, you know what? That makes so much sense.
The bad thing about where we are is there are too many rules.
There's way too many rules.
And that's
and the people that follow them have all the power. It's weird.
It's really strange. Like here, it's just there's so much shit that you can't do that you can do in a lot of other places.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of shit you can't do here that you should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
We're wrapping this shit up.
Yeah, fuck it.
We'll be right out.
Yeah, well, I still don't know how to end these things.
I don't know how to end this either.
I don't know how to end these things.
I feel like
sideways glance as hit him on the head with a frying pan. Down by the fault line, come across a catfish walking upright like a human being. Said, hey, what boy ran around barefoot? Whole lot of fish in the world need free. Beaver liquor.